Hey guys, it's Jello, and today I'm going to list a few anime that caught my attention this season. And because I like it, it is the best. Therefore, there is no arguing against it. I'm kidding, just in case my sarcasm game sucks ass. You know, I made this video a bit late, but better late than never. Unless, you know, it's after the seasonal end. In which case, that could drastically change the list, because it's usually the ending that makes or breaks an anime series. But hey, I did it before the seasonal end, so it's all okay. Anyway, enough messing around, let me get started with the most popular anime this season. Boku no Hero Academia. So people tend to be a bit cautious when an anime gets too popular, making critics facepalm at the taste of us fans, who hype stuff up. But I figure in this case, I can safely say this anime is good. Even if you're not the type that's into this kind of genre. From an unbiased viewpoint, this is a good anime. I mean, it has all the good traits to make it a good anime. A good shonen anime. The show is basically about a kid with no powers born in a world of superpowers and faces discrimination against his peers for being an oddball. He dreams of attending the most prestigious academy, which he finally gets to after getting a kick-ass ability. Oh yeah, spoiler alert. Let me quickly list off its good points. Good opening, good ending, good OST, art does justice to the source material, animation is great, and characters are not two-dimensional. Bad points are that the show may be a bit predictable. I mean, the show from the get-go tells you that the main character will be the most powerful hero by the end of the series, but it's not about the destination, it's about the journey to it. Oh yeah, and it's only 12 episodes. Why? The next one is my personal favourite. People call it the anime of Dark Souls. RE0 is an original story about a boy who falls into a fantasy-like setting. Now I know this setting has been done to death, but hear me out here, it's pretty good. The anime introduces us to a bubbly and pretty hyperactive protagonist who's chock full of game references and being meta as fuck. He meets a cute anime girl who is searching for something, and he's like, hey, I'm the main character, might as well help her out, might get some. And then he dies. Yeah. Turns out the story has a bit of a twist. It's a pseudo time travel story. And don't worry, it's not really time travel, because time travel can easily go wrong in anime or in any media. I'd say it's more like him dying and arriving into a very similar world. Kinda like a slider. Anyway, this show is mainly about a gruesome trial and error, which eventually drives the main character insane as he tries to figure out how to exit each loop by avoiding being backstabbed, sliced open, or outright killed without even realizing it. It has good mystery elements, clever writing, and I've seen some pretty outstanding animation and what I like to call anime cinematography, which I mean at its use of camera angles in certain parts of the show, which make some of the more desperate moments of the show, when it does use these camera angles, into something incredibly dramatic. The only issue I seem to have with this show is that the main character doesn't really give a fuck why he fell to a fantasy-like world. Maybe they'll focus on it later on, I hope. It's a 25 episode series, and I'm happy that it will continue into the next season, which I think will be the best this year. I might make a video about that one later. Next we have an anime called Kisniver, which I assume, like me, people really paid attention to because it was made by a renowned studio named Studio Trigger. Yeah, the people that made Kill la Kill. The series wasn't a bombastic, action-packed series. It was more of a grounded, character-driven story. The story is basically a group of people who have been forced together by what is called a Kisniver system, which connects everyone's pain. So if I kick the nuts of the main character, everyone, including him and every other character that's linked to him, will feel the pain. Actually, that's a bad example since the main character can't feel pain. So everyone besides him will feel the pain, be it man or woman. The goal of the series, or what it seems to be, is the organization that gave this Kisniver system to these kids want world peace, because, you know, if we all felt each other's pain, we'd be more empathic towards each other. That sounds a bit flawed. Anyway, there's a lot of questions this series has left me. Like, why does the main character not feel pain? Is the organization actually evil? Stay tuned for the next episode of Kisniver. Anyway, that's enough serious shows, let's move on to something comedic. Now, the anime that stood out most for me in comedy was a show called Sakamoto. So imagine the coolest person in the world, now times it by infinity. And what you get is Sakamoto. The man just oozes coolness, and the entire show is basically centered around why he is so amazing. From sword fighting a bee with a compass to serving a delinquent so good as a lackey that the delinquent will get PTSD, and he does it all in style. Every episode you get a new opponent for Sakamoto to prove his coolness to, and by the end of it all he will swoon the other person with his coolness. Be they bullies, hot girls, nerds, delinquents, gangsters, or even birds, no one can escape his coolness. Another series I really liked was the Listless Tonic, a show that I can really relate to, and I think a lot of other people can relate to because of the main character. So the show is basically about a guy called Tanaka who lives a very lazy and laid-back life, which I highly respect, and he goes out of his way to make sure that he gets a lazy and laid-back life. I also love the rest of the cast. All the characters are very lovable, which can each be summarized as the husband material best friend who is probably too good for Tanaka, an easily excitable lolly who acts stupidly cute or cute stupid, but she's a lot smarter than you think, and a perfect woman who isn't all that perfect. The characters mesh well, and the entire atmosphere of the anime will leave you calm and chill, with a few frequent chuckles. I'm also certain that this anime will spawn a lot of yaoi fanfics. And finally we have an anime called Carbonari the Iron Fortress, which is made by another popular studio, Wit Studio, the ones that made Attack on Titan. And the best summary I can come up with is a steampunk Attack on Titan with zombies. I've only watched the first episode, but just from seeing that, I have a very good impression on it. And because I have a Attack on Titan feel, I think that I'll just marathon it instead of watching it weekly. I like the main character. He certainly isn't lacking in motivation from what I saw in the first episode. Anyway, that's all I'm watching from this season. Busy term, so I'm not really watching much, but these are all pretty good. Anyway, like if you liked it, subscribe if you want it, and see ya. So I didn't really want to mention this in the list, but that's what the after video bits are for, aren't they? Here's a warning, don't watch the anime The 100, it's freaking bad. It's even bad for suckers like me who feed off ecchi harems. It's bad, don't do it.